I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that while I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that that's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but not get just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Cole. You know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA. We a big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
And welcome to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckheiser here. Guys, we're doing a like challenge tonight. So if you're watching us right now, go ahead and hit that like button and hit that share button as well. Preferably the like button. Just hit the like button. Just spam the crap out of that like button if you're watching us on Facebook Live. Hit like. Hit it. Hit it right now. Welcome, Brandon Combs, to the show. What's going on, BC?
Not much, man. Not much. Living the dream, watching some Cubs greatest moments, top 10 greatest moments against the Cardinals. So I'm actually having fun right now.
So you're watching the top 10 greatest moments of the Cubs versus the Cardinals because versus everybody else they're just complete trash, or like just because it's a rivalry?
No, that's our biggest rival.
Well, yeah, but I'm trying to give you a little bit of crap.
They're not losing 100 games this year. You can try all you want.
Who said that?
You dummy.
I was not on the Facebook page trolling our own show. Come on, man. You know better than that.
You said that right before you said that Hunter Renfroe is on the same level as Bryce Harper.
That I did say that, and I would say I misspoke, but I didn't misspeak. Stutter and Buck did not stutter that time. It came out loud and clear. So I was actually pretty proud of myself because it was crisp. It was like right, and then. Of course, then I start that afterwards, but it is what it is. So, guys, welcome to the Man Hour. You guys can head over to mikeandmikemanhour.com, pick yourself up some merchandise. But tonight, like I said, guys, we are seeing how many likes we can get over the platforms that we're streaming to. We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch as well tonight. So just hit those like buttons, guys. I would like to see how many people are actually listening to what we say. So if you would hit the like button. So far, 2 have come in. So if you guys could, hit the like button a little bit more, that'd be awesome. So, Brandon, we have been talking college football a lot on the Big X Sports Radio. If you guys are not listening to us Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., you should. That is Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM here in Louisville, Kentucky area. But you can also watch or listen to us worldwide on BigXSportsRadio.com. But we said that Indiana's kind of getting screwed in this whole Big Ten championship game, New Year's Six game, right? And for you guys that don't know what we're talking about, the Big Ten put out rules at the beginning of the year, said that you had to have 6 wins to be eligible for the conference championship game. Ohio State's 5-0, and they're in the Big Ten championship game. So obviously the rules got bent a little bit, and Indiana is 6-1. So looking at the current polls right now in the college football ranking itself, Indiana is number 11, and in the AP they're at number 7. Looking at the AP here, they're behind Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Clemson, A&M, Cincinnati, and then Indiana. So, Brandon, looking at this polls right here, coming in at a number 7 seed at the AP polls, quite arguably a Big Ten championship win would probably put them up in the top 4, if maybe not top 5, moving forward, like giving them a pretty good shot at the college football championship game. Is Indiana getting screwed in this whole situation right now with the Big Ten?
Absolutely. I've said this from the beginning. Indiana is absolutely getting hosed here. They met all the requirements. They're 6-1. It's not like you're talking about, a 4-2 or 4-3 team. You're talking about a 6-1 team who met all the requirements, did everything that they needed to do. They're ranked. I think they're ranked 7th in the coaches poll, but they're nowhere even close. Like you were saying in the college football playoff. But this team should be in the Big Ten title game.
Should be,
without a doubt. I mean, they've got more wins than Ohio State. Granted, they have one more loss than Ohio State, and that one loss is to Ohio State. But in order to get to the Big Ten championship game, you're supposed to play 6 games. And that's one thing Ohio State did not do. And so now you're taking these kids, you're telling the kids from Indiana, look, I understand you met all the requirements. You went 6-1. You had a great season. But Ohio State has a chance to make us some money, so you guys are out and they're in.
So let me play devil's advocate here. Indiana right now has 28 positive COVID cases on the football team. Their football game last week got canceled versus Purdue because of the COVID outbreak that was happening. Just not with Indiana, but with Purdue as well. And then on the flip side, that game got rescheduled to Friday, which later it got canceled again.
StreamYard kicked me out.
Or was it the ghost? Like, I do have a ghost in the garage. But like I was saying, the Indiana Purdue game was supposed to happen again Friday, which got canceled again because the COVID outbreak of Indiana. So even if Indiana was able to play the Big Ten championship game, they wouldn't be able to play the Big Ten championship game because of the COVID outbreak. So kind of like the Big Ten, it kind of saved themselves like a little bit because a team like Indiana cannot go into a Big Ten championship game, and I don't care who you're playing, they cannot be missing 28 players, and some of them are starters. They refer to as Tier 1 players, and they would not be able to compete. Ohio State can literally be missing all of their starters, all 22 of them, and still compete with Northwestern, I think.
You're not incorrect when you say that, but the fact of the matter is they didn't meet the requirements. And
you are
Indiana
100%
did.
correct.
And whether or not they will win, because we don't know. We don't know if Coastal Carolina is good enough to beat Alabama. We don't think they are, but we don't know if they are, and they're undefeated. I didn't think they were good enough to go in and beat BYU, and they did. So just because, we think a team is better than the other one on paper, we always say it in the NFL, man, any given Sunday. And the same thing holds true in college football, man. Any given Saturday, one team can beat another team. And if you don't believe me, go ask, Michigan, who loses to Appalachian State. Go ask.
How about last week, LSU versus Florida? LSU looked like total trash on film. They came into Florida and rolled them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And so I don't think that regardless of Indiana and however many players they're missing, the players that are still playing on that team deserve a chance to play for the Big Ten title. And they're not getting it, and the only reason they're not getting it is because Ohio State has a chance to play for a national title and get to the college football playoff, which is every other reason other than the fact that I really just don't like Ohio State, other than our boy Zen going there. I just don't like Ohio State. And Northwestern, I'm rooting with every fiber of my being on Saturday that they pull this one out, because I would love to see it. It would just, chaos would ensue. You know what I mean? Like, you did what you had to do to get Ohio State in there. Now Northwestern beat them. Now Ohio State's definitely not going to the college football playoff. And I don't know, man. For me, especially championship weekend special. I mean, we've got Notre Dame and Clemson at 3 o'clock, and there's also an NFL game at 3 o'clock.
Right.
I'm watching Notre Dame and Clemson.
That's going to be a good game, isn't it? Yeah,
and so to take that away from the kids that are actually able to play in that game in Indiana, I just think it's a disservice to them, and you're really just telling all the things that you're trying to do as the NCAA with all your stupid rules and trying to make competitive advantage fair. The next kid who has a choice between Indiana and Ohio State is going to look at this and say, well, if it comes down to it and we're really, really close, they're going to give this to Ohio State. So, if I really want to play for a title, I should go to Ohio State. And that's just, it's crap.
So before we get into my next question, I want to give a huge shout out to all the Floyd Central highlighters today that did sign their letter of intent. Like we had Winkers, Zen, Hatfield, and I know there's several others that are signing in January as well. But those 3 kids that I saw this afternoon signing their letters of intent, they were on freaking cloud 9, and I've been there. It is awesome experience for those guys.
Yeah.
So.
And also, shout out to Wyatt for going in and getting that streamed out to the page. Check it out. He had some interviews on the page as well. Very good stuff from Wyatt. And the kids were really engaging with them, too. So you can definitely tell that Wyatt's built a rapport with the kids that he's worked with over the last few years. And it was a good job, and it was a good day for the Man Hour, for sure.
Yeah, and guys, Wyatt will be joining us at the bottom of the hour as we speak some NFL talk. But let's continue our college talk before we take a quick little break here. Let's be devil's advocate, right? Okay, here. Let's say Ohio State does get beat by Northwestern. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but let's say that happens, right? Let's also say that Clemson beats Notre Dame this week. We saw last week LSU beat Florida. Florida only dropped one spot, giving them 2 losses on the year. So moving forward, we have a undefeated Alabama team, Notre Dame with 1 loss, Clemson with 1 loss, Ohio State with 1 loss, which they should be ineligible for the playoffs, but we'll see what happens there. Then you also have A&M with like 1 loss. What 3 1-loss teams would slide in there, do you think?
So what you're telling me is that if Clemson beats Notre Dame, you think they're both out?
See, it all depends. See, like that was before Florida got beat by LSU. So historically, the college football playoff committee has never let a 2-loss team in. With that being said, if Ohio State gets beat, they are technically ineligible for the college football playoff because they don't have 6 wins. With that being said, if Clemson beats Notre Dame, A&M is off because they're not in the SEC championship, and if Iowa State beats, I believe, Oklahoma in the Big Ten or the Big 12 championship game, I think A&M would slide into that 4th spot. You have to drop Ohio State, and I think
Notre Dame and Clemson both get in that scenario.
But I want to say that they are looking for a way to get Notre Dame out of there, to be honest with you.
No.
Out.
Notre Dame makes them a lot of money in the college football playoff. I'm telling you right now, I think if Clemson beats Notre Dame on Saturday, even if Ohio State wins, I still think that Notre Dame and Clemson both are in the Final Four. And that Florida loss last week solidified that. I think that Texas A&M will definitely have an argument that they should be in, but right. I would have an argument for Notre Dame that they should be in because you give them their only losses in the ACC title game to a team that they already beat. So now you're going to take the team that they already beat and put them in, but you're not going to let Notre Dame in? I mean, to me, I don't think you could do that to them. I think the only way that one of those 2 schools is out is if Notre Dame beats Clemson, then Clemson's definitely out. And you'd be looking at A&M sliding up. And if you have to have a 2-loss team, say Clemson loses, if there's a 2-loss team that slides up, it would probably be Georgia.
See, and I don't see Georgia sliding in because the SEC championship game has so much weight on them. But in this scenario, let's say Ohio State gets beat by Northwestern, making them ineligible, and they don't bend the rules to allow them in. Clemson gets beat by Notre Dame, but it's a close game, 31-30, right? It's a very, very last second. They play great. Just Ian Book and the Irish play better. I think a 2-loss Clemson team gets in over A&M, over Iowa State.
I don't. I think that Texas A&M moves up, and I think that if any of those teams, I do think it's Georgia because you would assume that Alabama beats Florida, so Florida then has 3 losses, so they're not getting in, and Georgia would be the next best team with 2 losses, unless you're going to tell me that the college football playoff is going to slide an Iowa State in over a Florida. Over a Georgia. I could never see that happening just because of the SEC bias.
Right. And just to add to the point there, can I kind of retract my statement a little bit here? Like, they are not looking to get the Irish out a little bit. They are looking for the Notre Dame Irish to join a conference. So they might boost them up for being in an ACC conference championship game this year. But if it was like a normal year and they were just independent and like they were to lose, I think they would probably knock them out. Definitely, just to be like, hey, you should be in a conference.
I think Notre Dame's in the college football playoff, no matter what happens on Saturday. I really do.
Saturday is going to be very, very intriguing. Not only because there's NFL games, but there's also this great slate of championship week games. And this is the first time that I'm really looking forward to a Saturday, like all day, like 8 a.m. till midnight, right?
If Clemson comes out and absolutely destroys Notre Dame, I mean, I'm talking about like beats them by 4 or 5 scores. then I could see a scenario where Notre Dame might get knocked out and you could slide in an A&M or something like that. But I don't think that happens. So I think Notre Dame is in, and if Clemson wins, they're in. Clemson's playing for their college football lives.
Only time will tell, guys. But I mean, it's what's 72 plus another 24? We're like in like 96, like 100 hours before we find out. It'll be very, very intriguing. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick little break here on the Man Hour. On the other side of the Man Hour, we got the world infamous What Does. So what has been driving us crazy for the last week? Find out right here on the Man Hour, guys. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeister with Brandon Combs. Brandon, this is the type of day where, this is the time of week where I let everything out. Last week it was geared toward like a lot of sports. This week I have a mixed bag of stuff, right? But I am going to let you get the inaugural What the of the day right after our awesome jingle, man.
My first what the of the night goes to Jake Paul. Jake Paul has an absolute freaking death wish. First, he unfollows everybody on his Twitter or Instagram and only follows Conor McGregor's wife. Then he goes off in a pickup truck of some sort or something and drives past Conor McGregor's training partner's facility as he's coming out and starts throwing stuff at Conor McGregor's training partner. I don't know if you know anything about Conor McGregor, but the last time somebody messed with one of his training partners, it did not end very well for that guy or his bus. And then Dana White, he starts calling out Dana White, and Dana White says, I might let Amanda Nunes knock him out. And Amanda Nunes says, I'll take that fight. Jake Paul has since backed off and is not interested in fighting Amanda Nunes. So, Jake Paul, what the?
My first what the of the night is going to go out to the coat writers out there. If you guys don't know what a coattail writer is, it's basically that someone that basically copies everything that you do, right? I have been doing this what the segment here with Mike and myself since March. Literally this same music is my voice on the jingle, but there was another show that literally took the jingle, took our segment and made it their own. And now this other show is on this Lamar Jackson's trash train as well, because they know that is my take. I've been saying it for 3 years that Lamar Jackson is trash. I said it coming out of college that he was not going to have a very successful NFL career. And yes, he had a good game of the night. Yes, he had one good game. He rushed for turn that off. He rushed for 124 yards, threw for 196. Like, I get it. He had one good game. Show me that in January, Lamar Jackson. All those coattail writers that are doing us. This is Man Hour stuff, guys. Come on, you gotta get the what the.
And I'm going to ride that coattail just a little bit here. And I'm not going to talk about the coattail riders, but I'm going to talk about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has a stomach cramp the other night, runs off the field, has to go poop, and while he's pooping, his backup tears his ACL. His backup literally came in the game and tore his ACL so that Lamar Jackson could poop. Then Lamar Jackson comes back out on the field after the poor guy tears his ACL and throws the game-winning touchdown. Lamar Jackson, what the?
before I get into my next what the Brent, I got to bring you on split screen here for like a second. Have you ever had those stomach cramps where you're like, oh my god, dude, those are real, man. Yeah. Like, do not dog Lamar Jackson for that.
I had some a couple weeks ago that stopped me from doing the show one night when we couldn't be on. So I get it.
There have been times in my car where like I've unbuttoned my pants and like try to like stretch it out. Like those are real, man.
The difference is nobody tore their ACL when I had to go though.
Well, it wasn't like that.
I almost tore one trying to get to the bathroom, but nobody tore one.
Combs, you get the what the for tearing an ACL going to shitter. And my next what of the night is going to go out to Walmart. Huge shout out to Walmart. I love Walmart. They got my Cheetos, they got my trash bags, they got my Captain Crunch, they got my baseballs, they got everything, right? Well, today, after we went and saw Santa Claus, good old Saint Nick, the boys sat in front of a plexiglass and on a box. They couldn't talk to him or touch him, whatever. I digress on that. Walmart changed the colors of their bags. Okay, first of all, like, you guys know the Walmart bags, like they're gray with the blue Walmart thing on them, right? The bags that we got are pure black. It looked like I just spent 3 hours at a porn shop, bought the whole rack full of all these, weird ass toys because it comes in a discreet bag, right? Walmart, come on, put some color branding up. Man, my wife flipped out when I brought in like 100 black bags. She's like, "What were you doing?" Don't worry about it, honey. It's Walmart.
I can't even with you. All right, look, I need to bring you on screen here. Who the hell sees black bags and it automatically thinks porn shop? What is wrong with you, Michael Buckeiser?
Who else carries plain black bags, man? Come on. Name a store. I'll wait. Come on.
Gas stations, liquor stores.
Okay. So I spent like $1,000 at like a gas station. Come on.
All right, back to my what the. My what does coming out to the Cubs. So a rumor comes out, and I've been talking all offseason that Chris Bryant's going to get traded. He's not going to be on the Cubs. Kyle Schwarber as well, and they ended up not tendering him instead of trading him. But then I hear a report that Yu Darvish is more likely to be traded than Chris Bryant this offseason. I don't know what the Cubs are thinking by saying, "Oh yeah, we've got no depth. We non-tendered John Lester, and now we're going to go ahead and trade Yu Darvish. So we're only going to have one relevant starting pitcher in our rotation." I don't know what's going on, but I'm not ready to go back to the 2011, 2012, 2013 Chicago Cubs. So Chicago Cubs front office, Jed Hoyer, what the?
And my next what is going to go out to the Carolina Panthers. They have ruled out Christian McCaffrey for this week's game because of his shoulder or ankle or back or hangnail or whatever you want to call it. Carolina Panthers, just call it like it is. Call a spade at the end of the day. You don't want to play him for the rest of the season because you want a better draft pick. Just say it. You guys are fully out of the playoff for us. You are fully out of division. You're fully out of the wild card. You had Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, he's playing good, but let's be honest. With Christian McCaffrey on the field, you guys are a much, much better team. So just say it. We are tanking for Trevor Lawrence, I guess, right? Take for Trevor.
And my next what the goes out to the Houston Texans. Not just the 6 players in this story, but the entire organization as a whole, because you are a dumpster fire right now. But at least 6 Houston Texans, including Deshaun Watson, all attended Deshaun Watson's restaurant opening the other night, breaking COVID protocol. And we've all seen what happens when we break COVID protocol as a group, And what happens when you get tested positive, or when you're near somebody who tests positive, or all this stuff. And then we have to forfeit games. We have to play on Wednesday. We have to do this. We have to do that. Houston Texans, what the...
And my next what the is going to go out. What happened to me tonight? After Santa Claus, after my Walmart pickup with all my black bags, we went to Culver's. Shout out to Culver's, the best 3mm hamburger I've ever had in my life, right? But nonetheless, this drive-through line at Culver's literally wrapped around the building twice. And, you know, me being a good husband that I am, my wife's like, hey, I want Culver's. I want a good hamburger. I'm like, okay, honey, I got you. So we go to Culver's, and they were at a hamburger. How does a hamburger place run out of hamburgers in the middle of a dinner rush? Like, come on, Culver's.
My last what the other night is actually going to go out to my lovely girlfriend, Michelle. We go out shopping, we're going Christmas shopping, and we go a little overboard. We end up with way more presents than we intended on. And then we go tonight to Walmart, and we're going for a space heater and a pop-up tent for the kids. And we ended up walking out of there with over $200 in more Christmas presents.
Did you have black bags?
Michelle, we did not have black bags. Michelle, what the?
And my final what the of the night, my what does have been all over the place, more of like a man's world that I live in, right? Whatever you want to call it, a woman's world. I mean, who really runs the world? Is it a man or like a woman? I'm kind of curious about that because in my household, a woman runs my life. But I digress on that. My final what the of the night is going to go out to my wife. Sorry, honey. I got to throw you under the bus.
Do it.
Don't do it. We live in this hurry up and wait type of world, right? She's like, get the boys ready. Let's start the car and get ready, right? So we have one of those remote starters, right? And it starts your car for like 15, 20 minutes, and then it shuts it off like afterwards, right? Well, I started the car twice. It shut off twice. So that's at least 40 minutes. So I hurry up and get the boys ready to go see Santa Claus. The car shuts off twice, and she's still not ready to go, man. Honey, come on. What the? Hey guys,
I'm so glad that's the what the that you went with her story.
What?
I thought you were going a totally different route with that story.
Nope. That is never going on air. That is between our inner circle, Brandon. Now that you brought that up, people will be like, hey, what is he talking about? That don't you worry about that. Just know it's a fart cloud. Got him. No, but guys, that is going to be it for the What Does. If you guys ever have any of the What Does, you can tweet us. You can tweet us on Twitter at @manhour_Buck, at @manhour_Combs as well, or just pop it in the chat here, and we will always we see the chats coming through on all platforms. So as you see, the lovely Michelle is going to come out here, and Summit says, who looks like a lot of I don't even know how to say that word.
Ted Kaczynski. That's a Unabomber.
Is it?
You know, funny story. Yeah, I graduated from Evergreen Park High School, which is where the Unabomber went to high school.
Is that are you Summit 435?
I'm not.
All right, guys. So like I said, that is going to be it for the What Does. We have Wyatt coming in. He was on backstage, and then he left us for like a little bit. But on the other side of the break, guys, we got some NFL talk. We are going to break down the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Saints, Bears versus Vikings, and then football team versus Seahawks, and Patriots versus the Miami Dolphins. So, guys, stay tuned here on the Man Hour. We'll be right back right after this amazing break. Much needed break. That throat hurts. All right, guys, welcome back to the Man Hour. Michael Buckhouse with Brandon Combs here. This last segment of this show, guys, is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. Head over to thrivefantasy.com. Use promo code MANHOUR to up to a $50 match deposit on your first deposit. That's promo code MANHOUR. Thrivefantasy.com. You can also download on Android and iOS devices as well. Easy money, easy over-under versus, and I'm up around $700 on Thrive Fantasy on my Kansas account because I can't bet in Indiana. So I call my sister.
I'm up still as well.
So, and actually tonight on Thrive Fantasy, they did launch the NBA as well because this is the start of the NBA season moving forward. So Wyatt is not here yet, guys. But as soon as he pipes in, we will take him in, and just like we always do. So Combs, Week 15 of the NFL season is coming upon us here, and there are some big marquee matchups that are happening this week. Some of which have very, very big playoff implications. Some of them just are kind of barn burners, but they're still going to be good games, right? So let's look at a team and game that's pretty very, very near to your heart and has huge playoff implications. We do have the Bears taking on the Vikings. So I'm going to ask you this question. I know you're a Bears fan, but how do the Vikings win this game versus the Bears?
Show up.
Come on, man.
Look. The Bears, despite what you saw from them last week, I think last week was the aberration for the Bears. I don't think that last week's Bears team. What's going on, Wyatt? I don't think last week's Bears team is the team that you're going to see come out against the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't see them winning all 3 games to get into the playoffs. The Vikings have been much more consistent on the offensive side of the ball over the last 6 or 7 weeks. They've been more consistent on the defensive side of the ball the last 6 or 7 weeks. And yes, they did lose last week to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is pretty damn good, and they needed that win pretty badly. So it did not surprise me that Tampa Bay took care of business. And it will not surprise me at all when the Minnesota Vikings come and destroy the Chicago Bears this weekend.
So why we are talking about the Chicago Bears taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Both teams are 6-7 this week, going into Week 15, and this is huge playoff implications of this game. The winner has a kind of like a red carpet almost to get into the playoffs, and the loser is probably out. So you are a Packers fan, but tell me how the Bears are going to win this week versus the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, first off, I want to start with Mitchell Trubisky. Actually, hasn't been bad here recently. I'm not saying he's great or an elite quarterback, but he hasn't been playing to that normal stature we're expecting of him throwing picks constantly and just not being great at all. Now, the other thing as well is his weapons have been heating up. Robinson's been hot all year. We've known that. But Montgomery, after a really slow start so far, he has really heated up here toward the end of the season, so that really could help them make a push for it. As well as this is something we've known for 2 or 3 years now. That pass rush is elite for the Bears. Not just the pass rush, the defense as a whole. 2 years ago was it, Combs? They had more interceptions than they allowed passing touchdowns. That's insane.
Yeah. That secondary is good. The pass rush is good. That offense just is not. And I get that they're coming off of that big game last week, but me as a Bears fan, I've watched them enough this year to know that was the fact that they were playing the Houston Texans that were looking forward to Deshaun Watson's restaurant opening more than they were about being on the field against the Bears. So Deshaun Watson didn't have a Deshaun Watson type game, and 95% of their team is hurt. So that is going to really it's going to give Combs a full chubby.
I was getting ready to pop that up there. Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Bears are not going to win this game, and Mitchell Trubisky is going to throw probably 2 to 3 interceptions.
As Brandon gives us a spoiler alert till the end of the show, till the pick'ems, but It is what it is. So you guys, I mean, like obviously we are doing our picks a little bit different here. We are going to tell these 4 games that we're breaking down, and I'm going to tell you why teams are going to win one way or the other. So the next team that we're going, the next game that we're going to bring up here is the Washington football team versus the Seattle Seahawks. This game also has huge implications of playoff picture moving forward. So Wyatt, tell me why the football team is going to win this week versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, first off, I said this the last time we were on here. They need Alex Smith back. Okay, I don't trust Haskins whatsoever. 1-3 as a starter this year. You can say whatever you want about him all time. He throws in his NFL career, his passing percentage is in the 50s. So he's not great. So that's the first step, is get Alex Smith back, make sure he's healthy and he can play. Second off, when you get Alex Smith back, he has got to air that thing out. We have seen the Seattle secondary struggle all year. Now, granted, it has got better as they've added to that pass rush and things have kind of progressed themselves and moved on. Now, the other thing defensively for them, Chase Young, we all saw what he did last week, single-handedly picked the offense apart. He was crazy, had a scoop and score touchdown, a couple of forced fumbles. I mean, he was all over the place and playing awesome. As well as the other reason, Scary Terry, he is an awesome deep threat. And Thomas, they're going to have to step it up here if Haskins is going to be the quarterback in this game.
So one of the biggest things that the Seattle Seahawks have been struggling all season was their front seven. We've been talking about it all year. They had very, very bad pass rush, and their secondary, I believe Jamal Adams was their leading tackler. I think he still might be their leading tackler even after missing 3 or 4 games as a safety position. So Combs, tell me why that the Seahawks are going to win this week versus the football team.
I mean, look, Russell Wilson needs to get it in gear heading into the playoffs. He has not been very good as of late. He needs to kick it in gear. He needs to get them back to what he was playing, through the first 5 weeks of the season, which is MVP football. And that defense is going to pose a problem for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not going to lie. That defense of Washington, I say time and time again, is very, very good. They're probably a top 5 defense in the league right now. But, Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, that's going to be the big matchup right there. That's going to be the key. How many times can you get DK open, and how many times downfield can you actually hit him while he's open? And then that Seattle defense, man, you've got to come to play, because the Washington, not Redskins anymore, they can run the ball. And you're not very good at stopping a run. And so if they get that run game going, you're in trouble. So that's going to be another key for Washington, is stopping that run, for Seattle, stopping that run game of Washington, and for Russell Wilson to return back to MVP form.
So, Combs, before I kick it back over to Wyatt, let me ask you this question. What is more important for the Seahawks in this game, to have a good offensive game, or for that defense to play at top notch, getting a stride going into the playoffs?
A good offensive game, because if you score 27 or 30 points, you're going to beat this Washington team. They can't outscore you like that. They can win a close game, but if you start putting up the numbers, you start putting up the points, you'll win this game regardless of what Washington does. So I would say it's the offensive side that's more important for Seattle.
And then Wyatt, let me kick this back over to you. What is more important for Washington this week, for that defense to keep playing the way they've been playing, or to establish this running game against the Seattle Seahawks defense that's been much improved the last few weeks?
I'm going to go with kind of what Combs was saying. I'm going to go with defense here. I feel like they've had a top 5 defense all year. They've looked really good. I think definitely adding the pass rush. I mean, we've seen Russell kind of digress as the year went on. I mean, he was MVP form at the beginning of the year, and now really dropped out of the MVP race. I haven't seen much about MVP voting for him at all. It's kind of just between Mahomes and Rodgers now. So just not keeping him out of that MVP stature, keeping him from running and improvising, as I should say, keeping him in the pocket and not allowing him to burn time by running around and then throwing a dot downfield to either Lockett or DK Metcalf.
All right, guys, so let's go ahead and move on to the next game on the docket here. We have the New England Patriots, 6-7 on the season, battling the Miami Dolphins, 8-5 at home. Brandon Combs, tell me why your boys, Patriots, are going to win this week over the Miami Dolphins.
They're not.
Because we're going to go 9-7, right?
Look, I can't tell you that they're going to win or why they're going to win. I can tell you what they need to do to win. What they need to do to win is play a spotless on the offensive side of the ball. Cam Newton has to have a game where he is not turning over the ball. No fumbles, no interceptions, read your progressions, check down when you need to, take off when you need to, run the ball successfully. But look, that's what they need to do to win. The defense needs to come to play too, because again, this Miami Dolphins team is sneaky good on offense. If you let them, if you give them any sense that they can score on you, they're going to score on you a lot. And so you've got to go out there. You got to hit Tua in the mouth. You've got to establish dominance on the front seven and in the pass rush. And you have to play spotless football on the offensive side. I'm not so sure they're capable of doing so.
Yeah, and speaking of Tua, he did go 28 for 48 last week, 316 yards with the 58% completion rating with 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. So, Wyatt, tell me why Tua and the Miami Dolphins are going to win this week over the New England Patriots.
Well, the first thing I want to start with here is if you can find a way to neutralize Cam Newton in the run game, I'm going to say probably 90% of teams playing the New England Patriots are going to win. Because simply that's all they are now is QB run, hand it off, QB run, then hand it off. I mean, they don't pass much at all. And when they do, Cam Newton, we've seen his arm be incredibly inaccurate at times this year. Now, the second thing, as we were talking about for Tua, it's got to be Tua time. He played just as good, in my opinion, possibly, if not better, than Patrick Mahomes last week when he threw 3 picks. The other thing, Gesicki, Parker, and Gaskins are all at risk of being out. That is the 3 biggest weapons for this offense. If they are going to be out, it's not going to look good because that COVID and IR list has to ease up on the Miami Dolphins, or they're going to go from a playoff caliber team to a no playoff caliber team.
So, Wyatt, before I kick it back over to Combs, over there, you named 3 big offensive threats that are going to be out this week. So, is it more important for the Tua to have Tua time and air the ball out like he did last week versus the Kansas City Chiefs, or is it time for that defense to step up and kind of flex on people like they were earlier in the year?
I think actually it's funny because I'm going to go with a little bit of both here, kind of 50 and 50. Tua's got to work very well, find his weapons, whatever weapons it ends up being out there. I mean, they got all kinds of guys out. Wilson is out as well. So that's really going to struggle on him. So if he's able to improvise, get the ball downfield accurately, it can really help them, as well as what we've seen the defense do earlier this year. The defense has got to get back to playing the form they were playing earlier in the year.
And then, Brandon, speaking of the New England Patriots and Cam Newton and his passing game has been pretty anemic for the Patriots the last 3 games. Newton has 16 attempts, 19 attempts, and 18 attempts. What is most important for the New England offense in this game? Is it trying to get the ball down the field and then kind of going point and point for the Miami Dolphins, or just to keep Miami's offense off of the field?
Keep Miami's offense off of the field. Run the ball, establish drives. Short passes is going to be the way to go here. You've got to keep Cam Newton confident, and you're not going to keep him confident if you're trying to go downfield because he's just not there. Whatever is going on with his mechanics, he's not turning it into it. His hips, he's still worried about it. So I would say your short game here is what you're really looking to establish. Short passes, run game, and keep Miami's offense off the field as much as possible.
I just think it's really interesting because at the beginning of the year, we were really talking about, like, how will these two teams move forward? I mean, especially with the quarterback position. Both teams really saw a huge impact change on quarterback position. I mean, the Patriots lost the greatest quarterback of all time. You don't bounce back from that very easily. And not only did they lose the greatest quarterback of all time, who is possibly, other than Peyton Manning in my lifetime, probably the most unmobile quarterback ever, they replace him with a run-first quarterback who is literally – he runs it like 24/7, or he hands it off. That's what Cam Newton does. And then when you look at Miami, for the first part of the season, they couldn't figure out if Fitzpatrick or Tua was the guy, and then eventually just went with Tua, and then there was a bunch of drama surrounding that. So I just find it funny how both these teams are really still fighting for a playoff spot. Essentially, whoever wins this could lock up that 7th seed for the AFC.
Any thoughts on that, Combs?
No, I mean, he caught me off guard there with the most immobile quarterback in his lifetime, and then I remember he was born in like 2006, so yeah, it's probably accurate there. I started thinking about, damn, there were some pretty immobile quarterbacks back in the day, but yeah, Wyatt wasn't around to see any of them. So
Right, and then let's talk about probably the biggest playoff implication game of the weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the New Orleans Saints. So I'm going to kick it to you first. How can the Kansas City Chiefs win this game versus the New Orleans Saints?
Patrick Mahomes. He is incredible. I mean, we all know this. Buck, you know this. You're a KC fan. The second biggest thing, his weapons. They're ridiculous. You have Tyreek Hill, who's probably not even arguably, who is the fastest guy in the NFL and a amazing deep threat who I love starting on my fantasy team. As well as you have Travis Kelce, who arguably has been the most consistent tight end all year. Nobody else has really done as much as he has. Waller's had a few good games, but Kittle couldn't stay healthy either. And the other thing, against Miami last week, the KC defense looked really good. I was actually pretty impressed with it. It's a defense that we've kind of looked at for a long time now and said, oh, their defense hasn't been that great. The offense is carried. But I can say last week the defense definitely carried them to that win.
Yeah, you are 100% correct. The defense finally stepped up, much like they did last year, the second part of the season. But just to add to some points there, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill have been double-teamed the third and fourth most in the NFL this season, over 30% of the plays, and they're still finding ways to get open, and Patrick Mahomes is still getting him the ball. Combs, tell me why the Saints are going to win this week, or how they're going to win this week.
Here's how they win this week. Start Jameis Winston. You couldn't beat the Eagles with Taysom Hill. Drew Brees is not playing again this week. Sean Payton says he's far away from starting still. So you start Jameis Winston because, look, Taysom Hill is not the guy. And if you want a chance to score, like you're going to need to score against the Kansas City Chiefs, Jameis Winston is the guy. Jameis Winston is the quarterback that you have on your roster that can bring you 40 to 45 points with this team. And if you don't start Jameis Winston, you got no shot.
And just to add to your point there, Taysom Hill's last two games, he has gone 28 for 38 for 291 yards. The games versus the Falcons, 27 for 37 and 233 yards. But then the first game he played versus the Denver Broncos, 9 for 16 for 78 yards. So he's definitely starting to find his own.
Did they win last week when he threw for 298 yards?
No, they did not.
Okay.
But I'm just giving you
how many points did they
here.
put up? How much points did they put up?
I don't
21.
know. 21.
How many points did they put up the week before that?
21.
How many points did they put up the week before that?
31.
Okay. You need to score 40 points if you want to beat the
I'm
Kansas
impressed,
City
Buck.
Chiefs.
That was awesome.
So, yeah. So you guys have told me the top 4 games that like I am most intrigued this week of like why the X team is going to win. But let's go ahead and go quickly through the NFL slate of games here, and we're going to give them a quick pick 'em. So Thursday night game tomorrow, we have the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Combs, who do you got?
Chargers.
What?
Raiders.
I'm taking the Raiders too. They are fighting for that playoff spot. Next up on Saturday games are starting. I'm pretty excited about that. Buffalo Bill taking on the Denver Broncos. Combs, who do you got?
Bills.
I'm taking Denver. It's hard to play at Mile High, guys. It's really hard to play at Mile High.
Buffalo's
Hangover.
so good.
But it's hangover, man. Big game.
You don't have to disagree with everything we say, Buck.
I'm not. Carolina at Green Bay, 8:15 Saturday night game. Who do you guys got? Combs.
Let's go, Carolina. Let's go. No, the Packers are going to win that one.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Carolina, though.
Go Pack, go in this game with no Christian
baby.
with like no Christian McCaffrey. I don't think the Panthers have a shot. Moving on to
never going to pick against Green Bay, so you can just skip over them every time we do the
Hey,
Green
we
Bay
win,
Packers
though.
game.
Am I wrong? I ain't been wrong yet.
You've been wrong twice.
Not with Packers.
Not on the man hour.
Not on the man hour, man.
Moving on to Sunday games, we have Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Atlanta, take on the Falcons. Combs, who do you got?
Tampa. Yeah, Tampa. The Atlanta defense is not good.
Same thing. Easy choice, Tampa.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bucks as well. Falcons just aren't very good right now. San Francisco 49ers take on the Dallas Cowboys. If this was nice, it'd be a great game. 2020s, not so much. But Colm, who do you got?
Sure. Yeah. San Francisco.
Oh, man.
I got Dallas, man. They're playing really good right now. I like the way they're playing football.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys too. They're still in a playoff hunt, guys. So I mean, they are going to come up
No,
to
they're not.
yes, they are. They're still in playoff hunt.
They need to win out and have another team lose out and have another team lose 2 games.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
They're hanging on like a hair in a biscuit. That's all that matters.
The Detroit Lions, 10-6 this year, taking on the Tennessee Titans. Who do you guys got? Combs.
Titans.
Henry finishes this game with probably 3 touchdowns again. I mean, I got Titans easy. They're going to run all over them.
I'm taking the Titans too. Henry single-handedly lost my fantasy playoff game last week. I just want to throw that out here.
He moved me forward.
Next game. This game is kind of intriguing to me because the Houston and Colts played just 2 weeks ago because they kind of have like a back-to-back game here. But Texans travel to Indy to take on the Colts. Colts, who do you got?
Man, this is going to be a good game. Why'd you have to come to me first? I wanted to think about this one. I am going to go with the Colts.
Colts.
I'm going Colts simply because I'm pretty sure if one more Texans wide receiver gets hurt, your local Walmart supervisor is going to have to go in and play for him. So that's why I'm going with the Colts here. I got their defense stepping up.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts. Colts as well because I think Houston they're checked out this season, 100%.
I could just see a guy running on the field with his Piggly Wiggly hat on.
Put me in,
Give me
coach.
the black bags. Give me the black bags, right? Moving on to the next game, we had the Patriots take on the Miami Dolphins at Miami. Colm, who do you got?
Dolphins. They're better and they're poised and they're ready to win. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins over the Patriots.
Fins up. It's 2 time.
Fins up. And see, I'm still riding with the Patriots. It's still a division game, and Bill Belichick knows the Miami Dolphins really well, and Flores did coach underneath Bill, and I believe Bill Belichick is undefeated against old coaches that are underneath him, if I'm not mistaken, or at least. Yeah. Or at least a very, very good winning percentage. Next up, we have the Bears traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Colm, who do you got?
Vikings.
Skull.
I'm taking the Vikings as well. Cook is playing really well when he's healthy, so I think he'll be healthy. Next up, we have the Seahawks taking on the football team at Hanover, Maryland. Colm, who you got?
West Coast team on the East Coast with a noon kickoff. I am going with the football team here. The not Redskins anymore are going to win this, and they are going to all but seal up the NFC East.
I'm going with Seattle here. They have been they've been kind of rough here recently. They had a good game last week, but then again they were playing the Jets, so they should have a good week. But yeah, I'm going to take Seattle, kind of riding off their wave they got going right now.
This is the third time that the Seahawks have flown to the East Coast to play a 1:00 game. So far, they're 2-0 on the season. I'm taking the Seahawks to a complete sweep. Next up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Baltimore Ravens. Colm, who do you got?
Ravens, as long as Lamar doesn't have to poop again.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going the same thing, just as long as McSorley or RG3. I guess, even though they're both hurt now, I don't know who the backup would be. I'm going with the Ravens as well.
You know what are you doing this weekend, Wyatt? You want to play backup for the Baltimore Ravens?
Hey,
you might get a couple plays while Lamar's stomach is cramping.
Hey, Wyatt did start in front of Zen in 7th grade, so I just want to put that out there. But guys, Garner Minshew is back for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they have been earning for their starting quarterback to come back. Garner Minshew is complete garbage. He is more garbage than Lamar Jackson. Ravens win; they win pretty big.
I'm rooting for the stash, though.
I hope that falls off and turns gray. To be honest with you,
I bet you'll find it in one of them black bags.
Moving on to the next one. Digress from that. New York Jets travel to L.A. to take on the Rams. Colm, who do you got?
Come on, man. The Jets are 0-16. Rams.
Easy.
I'm taking the Rams, but it's going to be a close game, 17-13.
No.
Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Arizona to take on the Cards. Combs, who do you got?
I'm going Cardinals here. And the Cardinals win big, and they help Washington almost seal up the NFC East.
Man, I was on the Wentz wagon. I popped off now, and I'm climbing full sail on the Hurts wagon. Throw your bags on, baby. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Hell yeah. I am jumping on that board, too. Before my man Blake Zender, fly, Eagles, fly. The Cardinals lose this game. Eagles win. Next up, we have the game of the weekend, I think. Kansas City Chiefs take on the Saints. Combs, who do you got?
I got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not going to start Jameis Winston over in New Orleans. Taysom Hill is not good enough to get it done. Patty Mahomes does his thing, and the Chiefs win this one.
I'm kind of riding off the exact same thing, but I think it's going to be a close game. That's a hard decision for me, but I will say KC in the end. But, man, I think it's going to be one of the best games of the year, possibly even as good as that last Monday night game.
KC,
you guys know I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Like, I bleed red, right?
Except you're going to pick the Saints here.
Oh, my God. But don't do it.
Dude, I want to because I don't see the Kansas City Chiefs only losing one game this year and moving forward. Like, they don't have a tough schedule. It's just the Saints that are left. But I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs. They are playing too good right now on the offensive side to give me the Chiefs. Next up, we have the Sunday night game. The Cleveland Browns, fresh off a 89-point game with the Ravens on Monday night, take on the New York Giants. Combs, who you got?
This game got flexed, and the Dallas Cowboys got flexed out of a Sunday night game for the Cleveland Browns. Who would have ever thought that would happen? So I'm going with Cleveland here. Cleveland stays hot. Cleveland beats the Giants and all but seals up the NFC East for the Washington not Redskins anymore.
I'm going with the Cleveland Browns here as well. I think that Baker Mayfield against Lamar and all of them last week, outside of a poop cramp that almost won him the game, okay? I can't believe dude, but Baker, I loved him in that last game. I am taking Baker to run away with this one and single-handedly dismember the Giants on Sunday Night Football.
On what was it, Monday's show, I said that Baker took leaps and bounds in that game versus the Baltimore Ravens. Like he took a 2-year progression forward, right? Now it's time for him to take a step back, right? It's like it is always 2 steps forward and 1 step back. If Colt McCoy starts for the Giants, I'm taking the Browns. But if the Daniel Jones starts, I'm taking the Giants. So
you're a Danny Dimes believer?
I like Danny Dimes. I think he's
Nobody
a top 10
likes
quarterback.
Danny Dimes. Even the Giants don't like Danny Dimes.
I kind of like Danny Dimes. I don't mind him.
Oh my God!
I felt bad for the poor guy when he was running down the field and tripped
and the
right
20-yard line tackled him.
Oh man! Oh my God! I felt so bad for him. I really did.
Then we have our Monday night matchup. The Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Who do you got? Combs.
Blake's a quarterback that gets tackled by a blade of freaking grass. Give me a break.
It was turf, man. It's different.
I got the Steelers on this one. Look, the Steelers get back to their winning ways. The Bengals are in disarray. They're not good at all, and especially without Joe, they don't have anything to go off of. So Steelers get back to their winning ways. They beat the Bengals on Monday night.
I'm going to take Steelers in a close one because they beat terrible teams barely.
Yeah,
oh God, get out of
Combs. You consistently say that the Kansas City Chiefs play down to their competition. The Steelers also play down to their competition as well, even though over half of their games are on playing down to the competition. I'm taking the Bengals. I think the Bengals on Monday night have got something going on.
I almost did too.
Yeah. I think the Steelers ship is taking on a lot of water, and they look like a duck on the pond. They might be calm on the surface, but underneath, those legs are moving 1,000,000 miles a minute.
Man Hour Nation, you guys need to talk some sense into these two buffoons. One has his room painted yellow, and he's got Green Bay Packers stuff all over the place.
Hey, it's green over there.
And the other one's shooting a propaganda video in Iraq. In a dungeon. So
You're just jealous.
we've got to do something here. You picked the Steelers to lose to the Bengals. Get out of here.
2-minute warning time.
That'll bring us to the 2-minute warning.
And usually on the 2-minute warning, guys, we give a little bit of soapbox to one of the hosts on the show. And tonight, that host is me. I went off on the what does a little bit. I threw my wife under the bus a little bit. I'm sorry, honey. I still love you, and I'll come in and rub your back here as soon as the show is over. But I want to give a huge shout out to my wife. She is my biggest supporter, and I don't know where I would be without her, like at all. Like, she allows me to come out here 2 hours a night. Yes, it's in the garage, whatever. It's in my dungeon in Iraq or Afghanistan. But you know what? I am able to do what I enjoy doing with two good friends, and Mike LeBlanc. He's a great friend as well. I have grown as a person from this, and the trolls. You can do what you want. Like, honestly, like it doesn't bother me one way or the other. We're having fun. We're doing good things, and join us on the Big X Sports Radio, guys, every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. 96.1 FM here in Louisville. What's up?
She texted you after the what does, didn't she?
Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the Man Hour. Join us tomorrow, same time, same place. YouTube.com/Man Hour. Hit that like button, guys. Get us like, I don't know, 10 likes or so tonight. That'd be awesome. Have a good night. Man Hour.